Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy Minimalism for Busy Moms with Jody and Linnea. As we get into the fall, lots of us are beginning to think about the upcoming holidays. Jody and I wanted to share a special episode from our archives that we believe will help you as you begin to make plans. If you're navigating the usual holiday chaos and looking for ways to simplify, this episode is a perfect fit, and we think you'll find some great takeaways to help you stress less and enjoy more this season. Let's dive in.
In today's episode, we will be talking about how to have a memorable, minimal holiday, so stay tuned for some insights and thought-provoking discussion.
Well, Jody, I don't know about you, but when my kids were younger, I used to try and do all of the things at Christmas time because I felt like it was my job to make Christmas like magical for my kids. And really what ended up happening is I don't think they cared about most of it, and I was just super stressed out.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Yeah, I started out also thinking that every single day of December had to have some kind of a theme or activity. And November was actually doing a lot of planning of December, but it really became activity-based or task-based, where it didn't matter necessarily like, oh, we had to get this done, even if the kids weren't really into it, or the activity I planned kind of bombed. And so it set a lot of expectation and not a lot of memory making. I mean, some of it is a blur, but some of them are memories, but not a lot of just hanging out. It felt really busy.
Yes. So what were some of the things that you did that made you feel stressed out?
Sure. Well, I made this tree out of felt with little pockets, and so each day had an activity in it. So the kids actually really liked that, but I didn't need to go above and beyond. But it was a lot of like out of the house activities with toddlers and babies where they're like, maybe it's fun a little bit, but it was a lot of go, go, go. So what kind of activities did you do with the kids before?
Yeah. Well, I got sucked into that idea of giving them a new book every day in December. And I love books.
Yes.
I love that the kids are into books. And some of those books are really special. But what ended up happening was I would wrap every single book. So that was just overwhelming. I remember like after the second or third year in a row of doing that, I was so over it. And we had plenty of special Christmas books. I probably could have just done that once, but then I thought the kids would expect that.
Right. So coming up with 25 activities is a lot because I would have to have at least 5 movie nights, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the hot chocolate night, and then make a snowman day, and then you have make paper snowflakes, and but you really do run out of stuff. And then I found I was filling it with more stuff I had to purchase, or candy, sugar, or tickets to things, which can not always work out because sometimes you have, we're going to go see the Nutcracker. But then because you've been going so much, now your kid has a cold and you can't go. And then everybody is so disappointed. So having that kind of schedule, it doesn't leave a lot of room for flexibility for other life topics. And for me, it kind of set up that potential of disappointment where they go and they pull it out and it's like some activity to go do, but then one of the siblings is sick and then everybody's like, oh, we can't do this, and they're so disappointed. So first of all, like bringing in more flexibility is probably a good idea. And then we've done the book thing as well, but maybe not as many like books throughout that calendar, because a book every day, you do accumulate a lot of books. And then are you buying the books that are the best ones that they're really going to love, or is it like filler books?
Right.
You know?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we did go through those books eventually, and there were several that they didn't even care about either.
Right. Some of the days for us would be like baking special things, and that's always fun, but sometimes that day would fall on a day where I was not feeling well or was extremely tired, and then it did feel like a burden. So instead of like being a little bit more flexible and spontaneous with, I would like to make cookies with my kids at one point in December, it would be like, I need to make cookies on this day.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you don't really need flexibility in your life and you're pretty good with a strict routine, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
For us, it was like this layer of, here's expectations I set for myself. This is how I'm going to be a good mom and bring my kids memorable holidays. And then here's where I failed.
Yeah.
And it didn't leave a lot of room for grace in my life. And even if the kids didn't have that expectations, I mean, kids, they don't know what to compare it to. They don't know what other families are doing. But it was me. I was putting these high expectations on myself, not being flexible,
Yes.
spending a ton of money to bring forth this stuff. And did it really make that much of an impact?
Right.
Was the value the same?
Right.
As maybe just blocking out an hour or two to play a game with your kids or do a puzzle or sit and hear about their lives.
Yeah.
It was very much activity based.
Right. I had the same experience. I actually remember one year, one of my kids just saying to me, Mom, I just don't want to do anything today. And it struck me, like, here I am trying to work hard to do this like magical thing and have all these great activities. But what I realized was it was so task oriented that it didn't fulfill the desire of ours to spend quality time together. I didn't spend enough time thinking about having activities that we could do to spend quality time together. And like, for instance, I planned a whole bunch of treats. Like, I just thought we need to bake all these different treats, these cookies, do this together. I hate cooking. I don't like being in the kitchen. And my kids were so little, it's not like they could actually help. They helped, quote unquote, but then I had more work to do to clean up afterward. And it didn't matter that much in the end to them. They didn't really care. If we baked cookies together, maybe we could have just made one batch of cookies instead of 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever it was that I was trying to do. And what they noticed was that I was stressed out and that I wasn't fun to be around because I was cranky. And so that was not the memories I wanted to create with them for Christmas.
Yeah. No, it's really good to evaluate what you want out of the activity and make sure that the activity is matching with what your expectation is for it. And if something, maybe you go on Pinterest or whatever and you look at things and you see this ideal setting, but if that's not reality for your family, then you need to maybe reduce what's on there or change it so that it fits your goal.
Yes.
Because, baking with toddlers and little kids, there's flour on the floor, flour on their faces, they're eating the sprinkles, it's a lot of mess. But if you do it at a reduced level and amount, then you can kind of manage the mess and it's easier to clean up and you can spend more time with them.
Right. We know that holidays can often be a stressful time for moms, so we put together a downloadable PDF full of tools to reduce stress. It has a gift idea list and planner, a section on self-care, tips on holiday food planning, including blank meal planning guides, and more. Or if you simply want the gift idea list, we have that available separately. You can find the links in the description of this podcast.
So now that you've gotten into minimalism for a long time, what do the holidays look like for you?
I like to sit down with my family ahead of time and just ask, especially the kids, because I kind of know what is important to my husband after all these years. But I like to ask my kids what it is that they look forward to most for Christmas, for the season, and what do they want to do together as a family. And that's really interesting because then I know what means something to them, and we can fashion our schedule based on what everybody wants to do. Last year, we're full-time RVers, so every year is so different, depends on where we are. But last year, I had asked my kids, what do you want to do for Christmas? And I want to go sledding. Because we were originally from a state that has a ton of snow. And we obviously do not stay in that state when it's cold enough to have snow. So they wanted to go sledding. And I said, well, we're not going to be able to go sledding on snow. And my one son says, well, Mom, what if we could go sledding on sand? Wouldn't that be cool? And I was already planning to go to White Sands National Park in New Mexico where you can go sledding on the sand. So I was like, your wish is granted. So we went sledding on the sand for Christmas last year. And it was awesome. So cool. It was one of my favorite Christmas memories ever.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's great. What other types of things come up for what your kids want to do?
Yeah, well, I do like to pick maybe 1 or 2 treats that we'll make. And I definitely try to plan those a little ahead of a day when we're actually doing something because I don't want it to be, I don't want all our activities to be crunched together in one little stressful week. So I do kind of try to plan ahead and spread things out. And if I get a lot of requests that just are starting to add up from the kids, and I might just say, well, you know what, let's save this one for next year and let's just pick and choose. But my kids also really love to go and do things like feed my starving children. And they've been asking a lot more recently to go and do something like that as a family. So we're going to try and fit that in this year.
Oh, nice.
What about you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we like to go sledding if there's good snow. We do live on a hill, and so that's easy. But going to a place with a larger hill can always be fun. But sometimes that really varies. There's been a couple of years recently where we didn't get really good sledding snow until January. So putting it on the calendar in December is a little iffy because you might get there and it's not going to happen. Building forts or a snowman is good, but there's just the right snow for that hits a certain type of temperature where it's a little bit melty, not super cold, and then you can actually build stuff. So scheduling that out ahead of time is not possible either. Some of my kids like to make snowflakes to put on the window. We do like to bake. So just typical like cutout cookies is fun because it is more like a craft. Than baking other types of cookies. When we've had a pine tree in our yard, we have made wreaths or decor for the table from using outside stuff.
Oh, nice.
So that's been fun. One time I put cranberries and it looked beautiful, but then it got really melty one day and then the cranberries dripped down my front door. And it looked terrible because they froze, and then frozen berries get kind of soft. But it looked really beautiful for a couple of months, and then you just need to know when to take it down. But that was easy with some wire and wrapping the wire. But there's lots of tutorials online for that. And that can be a way to use natural resources in your yard to bring like some holiday beauty into your home for free.
And then you don't have to store it.
Right.
Oh, genius.
Right. Yep. Exactly. And we also like to have some nice family dinners throughout the month. That can be a fun activity. My kids all give gifts to each other. And so one fun activity is me taking them alone to the store. So one at a time.
Yes.
So with 4 kids, that's like 4 activities where they're buying for, maybe some friends and family, or maybe they'll choose to make certain things and need a couple of supplies.
Yes.
So that's like a fun activity that is 4 different times for us. I do need to make sure that we talk about it ahead of time so they're not saying it the night before. Oh, I need this. And I'm like, no, you can't. Yeah, it's too late. Everything's closed. So
yes. We do the same thing. My son actually just today was talking about that. I want to go Christmas shopping for my siblings.
Yeah.
They look forward to it. It's so fun. It's fun to do that with them and see them get creative and think of ideas. And it's a fun one-on-one time with that child, a quality time out.
And it is so precious to see them like want to give to a sibling and to have that, and not just what they want, but to be creative and thinking and to look around in stores with them or come up and help them come up with ideas for what to make or what that sibling wants is so sweet.
It is. Well, and that brings to mind, too, I mean, we have given before to, like, toys for tots and other things like that, where you can give Christmas gifts. And the kids, it's just so fun to see them get excited about helping out other kids in need.
Yeah. So we do like to make crafts and find that fun. So one thing we do is we make candles that we can give out as gifts because it's kind of a consumable item.
Yeah.
And so getting beeswax from our local bee guy, and you can just buy wicks online, and we use canning jars and making beeswax candles. It's super easy, but it's a consumable gift, and then you don't have to purchase anything except jars. And people seem to like it and use it, and beeswax is smells good. It's beautiful. It really looks like a fall color. And if we make a batch of that, the kids get involved. It's fun. And then I can have that as like a housewarming gift, a birthday gift for a friend, put that in a bag with like some other things. And I can use those all year. And every age, teenagers like candles, adults like candles. It's kind of like, it doesn't have a strong scent. So you don't have to worry about like if they have sensitivity to certain scents, it's not going to matter. And so I feel like that's kind of an easy activity that definitely gets used over time. And it doesn't take up a lot of space. A little 4-ounce beeswax candles is not going to be like a big cupboard full of gifts. It's like something little that people can use or regift if they don't really want it. And then we also like to make decorations out of felt and yarn and things like that. And then we can use them over and over, but they're not made out of paper. And so we don't have to, they don't get damaged or we throw them away right away. It's a little bit more cloth. And so that can be a nice reusable way to do crafts with your family.
That's fun.
Little white felt snowman or, that the kids can draw on with a permanent marker.
Fun.
Yeah. So we've really tried to focus on activities that are kind of calming and that we can do around the house. Then also to have a couple activities that are out of the house. And that's a good balance for us. Some physical activity, like a hike or sledding. And then even learning how to knit or crochet and sitting around and doing that by the fire or putting on some music. And that's very cozy.
Yes.
And I feel like it provides opportunity for good conversation because your hands are busy. So you feel like you're doing something, but it's kind of quiet. And so then it's an opportunity for the kids to talk.
We like to put on Christmas movies and do the wrapping while watching Christmas movies. That seems to be really important to our family. And it's fun now that my kids are older. They actually know how to wrap and they'll wrap all the gifts if I let them. I mean, there's some we do, but most of them the kids wrap and they have so much fun. They almost get more creative with the wrapping than they do with the gifts sometimes. Making good. Like little treasure hunts or like wrapping, like 20 layers. And, just trying to the wrapping and unwrapping is almost more important than what's inside. But it's so fun to spend that time together with them, and we all really enjoy that.
Right. Last year we took the canvas painter's tarp, the cloth stuff, not the really papery stuff, and made them into drawstring bags, larger bags. And then the kids used like t-shirt paint to decorate them. And that's what we use to wrap larger things.
Nice.
So that worked out really well because that, larger things often take a lot of paper.
Right.
Paper is thin, it rips. Another thing I do that not a lot of people necessarily get on board with, but I like to reuse grocery bags, paper ones. Turn them inside out and use the paper as like brown wrapping paper. It's really sturdy. It doesn't tear easily like typical Christmas paper.
Yep.
And then the kids can decorate it. And it's beautiful designs. Maybe we tie a ribbon on it. And it just looks really neat in the end.
That's cool.
So Trader Joe's even has decorated bags around the holiday season.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of meant for that. But that way you don't have to buy paper. You're kind of reusing something.
Nice.
And it's not something you have to store. Like if I had saved many years worth of gift bags, now I'm storing the gift bags.
Yep.
This is like I choose paper when I get groceries and I use that to wrap gifts. And if there's any kind of a cloth bow bag or wrapping with cloth, I would save that. That's not going to take up a ton of space. And also I've given gifts in canvas bags. Inexpensive canvas bags from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby can be used as a gift bag, but then the recipient could use that as a bag to carry books in. So it's part of the gift, but it's also a reusable item.
Nice.
So as we're nearing this holiday season, we just want to encourage you to be mindful with the plans that you make for your family. Sometimes the holidays can bring different levels of stress.
Yeah, for sure.
And coming into it mindfully with a plan can really help reduce that stress and bring wonderful family memories for you.
Yes. Right. Because if you just don't take any time to stop and you just, every little idea that comes, and you just think, oh, let's do that. Pretty soon, you're just going to be stressed out. You're going to be putting stress on yourself. That doesn't need to be there, especially if these things don't even matter to you guys, to your kids. Like I did in the beginning. I thought it mattered to my kids. But in the end, it really didn't. They just wanted to spend time with me.
Right.
And not have me be cranky.
Right.
So, yeah, getting, maybe sit down with your family and just 5 minutes. Just say, hey, what do you guys want to do this Christmas? What matters to you? Maybe it's Thanksgiving, or maybe it's a New Year thing, or Hanukkah. But just asking what is it that actually is memorable for you and meaningful, and how can we make it more special? And
Yeah, just brainstorm, write some stuff down. If you have a lot of kids, maybe each kid gets to pick one thing. You know, if you can't agree on it, maybe pick a couple of things.
And if your kids are really little, they're not going to have an opinion. So you and your spouse or your partner can just talk about that and just decide what you think is going to be best for your family.
Right. And deciding what your ideal outcome is. Is it time with your kids? Is it watching them experience things for the first time? Is it traveling? Is it having a lot of time at home because your normal schedule is so packed? Maybe you're home a lot and what you want is to get out a little bit with them. So whatever you want, writing that down, and then when something comes up, an opportunity for an activity, does it fit into that?
Right.
Your end goal result.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then don't sign up for it.
Right.
Coming into any of the holidays, you're going to have a lot of stuff.
Right.
Things advertised to you, come to this play, come to this event, pay to go drive through lights, go walk around this garden thing or that downtown thing or this parade or this or that. And it can really be a lot of stuff. And maybe that's fun. If that fits, like this year, you want to do a lot of activities with your kids.
Right.
You want to show them all this different stuff. Well, that's great. You know, so just writing it down and being mindful that you do have limited time, and limited energy, and possibly limited finances, and, you know, setting that budget ahead of time and just making sure everything that you do fits into that can be so helpful and freeing and actually help with decision fatigue.
Yes. Right. Well, and on the money thing too, I was just thinking about that. Like it's so easy to spend money in December.
Yeah.
Like out your ears. And if it's just, you know, if you're already spending money on gifts and maybe a vacation with your family, a lot of people do a vacation when there's time off from school, then, you know, maybe you don't want to spend money on just extra like activities throughout the month. But there are so many things you can do. Like you mentioned the drive-through lights. There's just some neighborhoods that you can just drive through for free.
Yes.
And like you said, just some crafts that you can do with your kids that don't need to cost a lot, or simple baking, or maybe sitting down and watching a movie at home, things that don't have to cost a lot of money. And, you know, if that's an issue for you, if you're really like, it adds a lot of extra stress because it's important to you to celebrate your holidays together with your family, but you don't want to just keep spending money out your ears, then maybe coming up with a list of things that would meet what you have as a goal for celebrating the holidays together. But you can accomplish that same goal without having to spend tons of money on tickets necessarily for different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed delving into this topic with us and found a few tips that might help you on your journey. We want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners for tuning in. Your support and curiosity are what keeps us going. For more tools and resources to help you on your journey toward a simpler life, visit our website, www.123minimize.com. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an opportunity to explore new ideas and perspectives. And if you're inclined, leave us a review, which helps to spread the word to others who might enjoy the journey too. As always, feel free to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram to share your thoughts, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, stay motivated. Take care.